Hello, and you're listening to the Tiny Vet Podcast with me, Dr. Nicole Sue. Now see dogs and cats as well. Kind of fun. Love the puppies. And my fiance.
Comedian Jez Watts. Nicole knows this story already, but 2 years ago, I stopped using soap as an experiment to see if soap use was a manipulation by Big Soap. And after 1 year, I announced to Nicole, surprise, you'd never even notice I stopped using soap. It turns out nobody needs it. But she had noticed. She didn't want to hurt my feelings by saying anything, but she just thought I had started to stink as I aged as a man. And anyway, it turns out you do need to use soap. And I owe Nicole an apology. Sorry, little bun.
Why would you... I still don't understand why you would think
here's what
you don't need to use soap.
Here's what I regret in retrospect. That I never mentioned
We don't
to
have
you,
enough time for all your regrets on this podcast.
That's true. Well, yeah, let's not cover yours either, which is mostly me. But it's the same list plus one. Yeah, here's what I regret is that I never mentioned to you that I was doing it. But the reason I didn't is I was like, oh, I want to, like, she's like my first point of contact. I was waiting for anyone to be like, hey, you're stinky now. And nobody mentioned it.
Your feelings are very easily hurt.
I know. Thank you for, I'm fragile. But, yeah, but I never mentioned it to anyone. And I was like, that was sort of part of the experiment. I was like, oh, will someone mention that I'm stinky now? But, anyway, use soap, everybody. Use soap.
It wouldn't even be your N equals 1. That's a useless experiment.
It's S equals 1. Stink is yes.
Oh.
It's binary. Stink equals 1. Always stink.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I used to use friction in water, and that
was horrendous. Why? Why would you think that?
It's so interesting because just before the podcast, I was like, hey, could you speak up a little bit for the record and stuff? Oh. And then I was just looking at the volume level when you said why, and it like went off the scale, and it's like,
why would you do that?
Anyway, it's, we all learn something. We have to plug something before the episode begins in earnest, which is we have just started a Patreon if you would like to support the podcast financially. You probably have gathered already that I'm very poor and Nicole owns a horse. So even though she has reasonable money, like she doesn't have any to keep. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/tinyvetpod. And there's extra bonuses you can get. You can get listener pet shout-outs, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. And
which we have been doing for free to some of the pets that we...
Artichoke!
But yeah, you can get listener pet shout-outs. And also we're doing like longer episodes, like once a month, where we sort of deep dive into a topic or whatever. Because actually I've had a bit of feedback from listeners that they think the episodes are too short. But I think it's better that they want more rather than less.
Keep them hungry.
yeah, absolutely. If the feedback was, hey, the episodes are too long and I don't want to listen to it, it's like, well, that's bad feedback.
Yeah.
Anyway, patreon.com/tinyvetpod. And also leave us a review somewhere if you haven't already. All right.
It'd help.
Let's do the episode. What are we talking about today, my love?
Dogs eating human food.
Oh, I'm glad food was at the end of that. I was like, whoa, what? Whoa! We're talking about Russian dogs?
Oh.
Dogs eating human food. I would...
What do you know about it?
Well, here's what I would think. I would think that most dogs who eat human food are fat because the people who give them exclusively human food absolutely spoil them.
Yes.
And, probably... I don't know if they're giving them like KFC or whatever, but like they're probably not giving them like stuff that's properly formulated.
Oh, absolutely not.
But I would assume there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it.
The right way to do it is so hard.
Right.
Because really what you want is no more than 10% of non-formulated food in the diet.
Oh wow, so you're gonna give them a little.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and what it's funny they bring that with really fat dogs.
Yeah.
Because what I find people that feed some human food and some kibble is that they never subtract from the kibble. So the dog gets all the kibble it's supposed to get, and then it gets human food on top of that.
Yeah.
And then after a while he stops eating the kibble, and it goes, oh, he's really picky. I'm like, no, he's a fat lard.
Well, I think you made him picky as well.
Yeah.
If you give someone every meal you give them a full meal and also a bowl of Snickers,
Yeah,
then they'll
it's
stop eating the regular meal.
insane to me that people don't think through this.
Yeah, I think you said that's happened before, like with diet foods and stuff as well, where people will go,
Yeah.
oh, here's the full like allocated amount that the packet says plus
Yeah.
whatever I normally give them.
Yeah. Yeah, or they just give them as much as they want to eat of the diet food, but because it's a diet food, they're still supposed to lose weight. You're
Yeah.
like, no.
Yeah, dogs
That's-
can't self-regulate.
No. No. Humans can't
No,
self-regulate.
I can't. Yeah, absolutely. I need a therapist to
You want a dog to do that? Are you insane?
Yeah, I need a therapist to help me regulate.
But actually, that's not even like the main topic. Was
Right.
how some people are like, oh my god, dogs will die from chocolate, and then you always have that one person that pipes out there, my dog eats M&Ms and he's totally fine.
Right.
So, and they go, oh well, that obviously means that the vets don't know what they're saying because the vet says don't feed them chocolate,
Oh, and the dog is
and the
fine.
dog's fine.
Yeah.
And our risk benefit analysis, if someone goes, can a dog eat XYZ, is really what we go, is it going to work out in the end? And
Sure.
if
Yeah,
it
yeah.
works out more often than not,
Well, that's like the same thing as people who go like, "Oh, well, I didn't get vaccinated and I'm
Yeah.
fine." It's like it's on average, how is this going to go?
Yeah.
Is how you guys do advice.
yeah,
Yeah, you're not like, hey, if there's a chance the dog will be fine.
Yeah.
You might as well, give him whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's really, is it going to work out
Yeah.
more often than not?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's how we base it. And they do it the same for humans as well. So the sodium advisory, I think that's only applicable to, I can't remember, a certain percentage of humans that have the genetic predisposition for hypertension.
Oh, right.
But they
okay.
blanket say, "Oh, limit your sodium to whatever."
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But that's that's not going to be applicable to some people. But because of how people are,
yeah.
that's just a thing. So it's
Yeah.
the same thing that we do.
Yeah, sure.
And if it's something that doesn't work out more often than not, we just say don't feed it to them. It doesn't mean it's poison.
Yeah.
And I think the
It
thing,
doesn't mean any amount will kill them.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that look, it's better usually just not to feed it. And one thing that I always think of is there's a book. I think it's from Western Australia, and it collates all the winery dogs, which is super cute.
Winery dogs.
Like all the dogs that live on the wineries in
Okay.
Western Australia. It's so cute because it'll buy a photo of them in the winery,
Yeah.
in a little bio. Grapes and raisins are toxic to dogs.
Oh, no!
Yeah, so I remember I first saw this in vet school and I went, how? But it also turns out that the tolerance level for grapes and raisins and their toxicity level varies a lot between individuals.
Oh, yeah. So the ones that are in the book are the ones that made it. By definition, these book dogs are like pretty resistant, actually.
But that I was like, that now highlights to me that I'm like, oh yeah, individual tolerance plays a really big part of this.
Of course, yeah.
So just because maybe it's fine for your pet doesn't mean that it's going to be fine for everyone else's pet.
Yeah, I remember reading, or I think I maybe learned this in undergraduate, but like there's a pretty significant percentage of like the human population that is like immune to lung cancer
Yeah.
with cigarettes. But it was something where the government, like they didn't like suppress the results, but it's
Yeah.
something where the government very early on when this was discovered said, let's not publicize this because everyone, like people individually are bad at doing stats in their head, right?
Yeah.
So people individually will just go, oh, probably it's me.
Yeah.
And then smoke.
Yeah.
And it is that thing where just because your pet might get away with something, it's like probably best not to take the risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's say, someone calls and they go, oh, I'm on this winery and my dog just ate, a bunch of grapes.
Yeah, sure.
Even though, the dog has eaten a bunch of grapes, right? So be like, no, bring him in. We got to make him throw up.
So, all right. So I feel like we've gotten in the weeds a bit, but like, how does this all feed back into human food for dogs? Like, not just grapes.
Oh, gosh. What do you mean? There's a reason as to why we say, no, don't feed it.
Oh, so vets say that in general, like just don't do it at all?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
But like the max is 10%.
yeah, the max will be 10% of the diet.
Okay, right.
And that's,
But better just don't do it at all.
well, I'm fine with feeding some human food.
Yeah, because what about, but they love it.
Of course they love it. But it's also something where people go, oh, well, when I was a kid, we never did that and they were fine. But look at the lifespan.
Also, you got hit with a belt, but like it's like
yeah, but also like
those rules don't necessarily apply.
look at the lifespan that we're dealing with dogs now. It is
like they're living longer now.
they're living longer now,
because
and
they're getting
part of it.
better nutrition.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're living
That's
longer.
like humans as well.
Yeah, they're staying healthier.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well. I do remember 100% when I was a kid, like, yeah, you get the village dogs being fed whatever, just scraps.
Yeah.
They were not healthy dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. It is that thing as well when you meet someone who's like 60 now, like a human.
Yeah.
And like you're like, well, you don't look 60 at all because you have in your head what a 60-year-old used to look like.
Yeah.
60-year-olds are healthier now than they used to be because they got better nutrition all the way through. And the same is true for pets, right? But oh man, it's like so fun to have your dog so happy.
Oh, it is. And like I said, look, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing to say is
But I guess human food's a treat. It's not the whole diet.
Yes.
That's got to be the takeaway, right?
Yeah. I think I was still in vet school at the time, and this Chihuahua came into emergency. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember what it presented with, but it was not a well dog.
Yeah.
And it was because the owner had been feeding it what she ate.
Yeah. Okay.
Owner also did not look healthy. I will also say that. And like this dog was like, oh my God, it's about to drop dead.
Yeah. Right.
And I think the other thing is like believe your vet when they say, hey, well, yeah, we say don't feed that because you'll go online and
that could almost be the name of the podcast.
Please
please believe your vet.
Yeah, because
we're not trying to trick.
Yeah, vet will say, oh, don't feed your dog this, and people go online and they'll find anecdotal reports. Oh, I fed him this for whatever, and he's fine.
Right. Yeah.
And like, okay, good for you, I guess, but you don't know that this one's going to be fine. And also, are you sure he's fine?
Yeah. I mean, I guess, that's the whole thing. Like, you're going to a vet because that's someone who's got expertise.
Yeah.
And so it is sort of odd sometimes when you come home and you're like, oh, I told this person this, and they just completely ignored me.
Oh, it's so insane
why
to me.
do you even go? Like,
yeah, I'm like,
if you don't want to listen to what they're saying, then just don't, like, save yourself $150.
Right?
Do your own spay and neuters.
Oh, but the problem is that they do that and then they come in and this thing is just like a husk and you're like, well, that went poorly. Oh, yep. Listen to your vets, guys.
Oh, and send us $3.50 a month if you want.
$3.50.
Huh?
$3.50. Not
$300. If they also send us $350 a month,
that would be cool.
That's sick. But yeah, if you would like to support us, go to patreon.com/tinyvet.
Thank you.
Pod.
Bye. The Tiny Vet podcast is brought to you by Upilio. Sources for our topics can be found at upilio.io. Outro music by Matt Charleston.